David and Emily, a young American couple, decided to spend their Friday night watching the last show of a newly released horror film, The Cursed Melody. They had heard terrifying reviews about its eerie background music and intense jump scares. But being horror movie enthusiasts, they laughed it off and bought tickets for the midnight show. As expected, the film was terrifying beyond imagination. The background score was unnerving, an eerie composition that crawled under the skin. Every jump scare was amplified by the haunting melody that played just before something horrifying happened. Emily clutched David's arm tightly throughout, her nails digging into his skin. David, though outwardly brave, felt an unknown chill settle in his bones. When the movie ended, the couple stepped out of the dark theater, their nervous laughter trying to shake off the residual fear. "Damn, that was intense," David chuckled, starting the car. Emily nodded, still feeling the weight of the horror. "That background music, it's still ringing in my ears." As they drove through the deserted streets, David turned on the car's music system to lighten the mood. But the moment he did, their blood ran cold. The same sinister background score from The Cursed Melody started playing, creeping into the silence of the night. Emily gasped, clutching her arms. "David, tell me this is some joke." David's hands trembled as he quickly switched off the music. "How the hell did that get into my playlist? My pen drive only has our usual songs." They exchanged uneasy glances, unable to comprehend the bizarre occurrence. "Maybe it's just our minds playing tricks," David muttered, trying to rationalize. Emily nodded hesitantly, forcing a small laugh. But their unease intensified when suddenly Emily shrieked, "David, stop the car! Someone is standing in the middle of the road!" David slammed the brakes, his heart pounding. His eyes darted forward, scanning the dimly lit road. But there was no one. Emily's breath came in quick gasps. "I swear, I saw someone. A woman, dressed in black." David exhaled heavily. "The movie has messed with our heads. Let's just get home." Finally reaching their apartment, David fished for the house keys but found his pockets empty. A frustrated groan escaped his lips as he searched every possible place, but the keys were nowhere to be found. Emily crossed her arms, worried. "You must have dropped them in the theater. We have to go back." Reluctantly, they drove back to the movie theater, where only the night guard remained. After explaining their situation, the guard led them inside with a flashlight. The empty hall seemed eerily different now. The seats were vacant, shadows dancing with each flicker of the torch. David bent down near their seats, his hands blindly searching the floor. And there it was, the keys. "Got them. Let's go," he said, quickly standing up. But just as they turned to leave, the overhead projector suddenly flickered to life, filling the screen with static. Emily gripped David's arm. "Did you hear that?" A faint whisper echoed through the hall. The same haunting background music began playing. The screen glitched, and for a fraction of a second, they saw something. A distorted image of a woman with hollow eyes staring directly at them. They didn't wait to see more. They ran out of the theater, jumped into their car, and sped off. Just as they reached the same deserted road, Emily let out another ear-piercing scream. "David, stop!" David's foot instinctively hit the brake, but there was nothing there. He turned to Emily, panic-stricken. "Emily, there's no one!" Emily trembled, tears in her eyes. "She was right there, David. The same woman from the theater screen." David's breathing grew heavy, a gnawing dread consuming him. "This doesn't make sense. None of this does." The radio in their car crackled suddenly. The same eerie music seeped through the speakers. And then, a voice, a distorted whisper. "You shouldn't have come back." The engine died. The headlights flickered. And then, in the rearview mirror, they saw her, the woman in black. Emily's scream filled the air, but before they could react, the world around them shifted. The car was no longer on the road. They were back in the theater. The screen flickered, showing two people sitting in the audience. David and Emily. Their own terrified faces stared back at them from the movie screen. Their blood turned to ice as the whispers grew louder. The audience seats, once empty, were now filled with shadowy figures. They were trapped inside the film. The last show never ended, and now they were part of it.